Hello and welcome to this BCS Hertfordshire live stream. If this is your first time visiting and you enjoy this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also click the little bell icon as well, and that will notify you when we upload new videos. If you have a question for our speakers tonight, then please post it in the chat and we'll ask you a question at the end of their talk. This evening we have Rakhee Shah, IT lecturer and course team leader from North Hertfordshire College, and Donald Smith, success coach, also from North Hertfordshire College. And they will be sharing the basics of how to use spreadsheets. This is a particularly useful skill right now because with the cost of living crisis, finances are squeezed, and spreadsheets are one of the ways we can organise our money and finances and save some money. So thank you to our speakers tonight. I'll pass over to Donald and Rakhee. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Hi, so I'm Rakhee, and today's tutorial is an introduction on how to use spreadsheets. So first of all, you need to open Microsoft Excel. So you would click on the bottom left-hand corner, and in the search box, you would type in Microsoft Excel, and you will have the app that's displayed on the left-hand side on the top. Another way of doing it is using OneDrive, which is what I'm going to be using today because Donald and I are sharing. So I'm going to go into my OneDrive folder. And I'm going to open up a folder so that I can share a file with Donald. And from here, I'm going to click on New and then click on Excel Workbook. Because the desktop has more tools, I'm going to open it via the desktop now. So I'm going to click on Editing and Open in Desktop app. Taking a little bit of time. Here we go. Okay, so first of all, what is a spreadsheet? So a spreadsheet is a file that's made up of rows and columns, and it helps sort and organize data efficiently. It's also used to perform calculations. What I'm going to do now is actually just briefly go through the Excel window with you. So if you look at my first tab, you've got File, and if I was to click on that, over here you can actually create a new workbook, you can save your spreadsheet, and you can print. On your Home tab, this is where you do all your formatting for the spreadsheet. So you can change the fonts, you can increase your font sizes, you can center headings, you can make your text in a different color. If I click on the Insert tab, this is where you would create and insert a chart or a graph. You can also insert some pictures. If I was to click on the fourth, which is page layout, over here you can actually change your layout of your page of your spreadsheet. So if I was to click on that, if your spreadsheet at the moment is portrait, you can change it to landscape. My Formulas tab is where you would create your formulas, and you can actually show your formulas to see what formulas you've actually used. If I click on the Data tab, this is where you could actually sort your data into ascending order, alphabetical order, and you can also do some filtering as well. Review is where you can do like a spell check, and view is you can change your spreadsheet to a smaller size, to a bigger size. You can zoom in. Okay, right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to now begin to create a spreadsheet to show you what my expenditure is. So I'm going to start off by putting in a title. I'm going to go onto column A, row 3, and I'm going to start putting in some headings for my spreadsheet so that it makes some sense of what my data is actually displaying. So outgoings, I'm going to have weekly, and then I'm going to have yearly. Each box is actually called a cell, and this is where you would type in the data, the information. In column A, row 5, I'm going to now start putting in my information. So let's say my outgoings for my electric bill on a weekly, oops, my spellings, is £12.46. My gas bill weekly is £11.54. And each time to move on to the next row, I'm pressing the enter key. My water bill, suppose it's £4.62. My council tax, let's say it's £30 a week. Mortgage, let's say it is £103.80 per week. House insurance, let's say £3.46. Life insurance, £2.31. TV license, and you can go on and include as many outgoings as you have. And I think the final one that I'm going to include is food and groceries. Okay, so what I've done so far is basically just added some data to my spreadsheet to include what my weekly outgoings are. Okay, I'm going to now calculate to find out what my yearly bill would be, for example, for my electrics. So with a spreadsheet, to do any type of calculation, the first thing that you've got to do is enter an equal sign in the formula bar. So I would start off by putting an equal sign. I would then have to put in the cell reference. So I want to calculate £12.46 times 52. Now I wouldn't actually type in £12.46. I would actually have to put in the cell reference. And the cell reference means is where is that £12.46 on my spreadsheet? Where is it living? So cell reference is always the letter followed by the row number. So it would be B5 multiply, because I want to see how much it costs for 52 weeks. And I would actually type in 52. To see the answer, I would press the enter key. Okay, so you would see that my yearly electric bill is costing me £647.92. Now, if I want to do exactly the same formula for the rest of my items, all I need to do is I would go to the cell, go to the bottom, and you will be able to see a cross. I would click on it and then drag that down. And what that does, it actually copies my formula. And this would save you a lot of time because you don't need to enter the formula each time. Okay. If I want to work out now what my total bills are, So I could put in the heading and put in total. And again, I want to add £12.46 plus £11.54 and so on. Again, the beauty of Excel, this does the calculation for you. So again, you would put in, you would go where you want to enter the answer, which is there. I would put in equals. You need to include sum, because when you're adding more than two numbers, you've got to add the word sum. You open the brackets, and now you would start from where you want to begin your calculation, from your first amount, which is £12.46. And if I click on that, you will see that it is highlighting everything that I am dragging. So you will see that my formula, in my formula bar, it is equal sum, open brackets, B5 colon B13, and I now need to close the brackets. And that is my formula to work out the total weekly costs for my, electric, gas and water. If I press my enter key, my amount is £238.58. And again, I can replicate that by copying the formula going across. And if I click on that cell, you will see that it's already picked up that it's C5, which is my first cell, and C13 in my cell reference. So from here, from C5 to C13 is calculated my total costs, outgoings per year. Okay, what I want to show you next is basically how to make this spreadsheet look more professional, more presentable, because at the moment it's pretty boring to look at. You can see that my data is not fully displayed. So what I'm going to do, the first thing that I'm going to do is increase my column width. And to do that, you would have to go to the column A. Make sure that you've got the two arrows that are pointed opposite direction and double click. And you'll see that it's increased my column width, and now my outgoings are all, data is fully displayed. I can do the same with B, and I can do the same with column C. Okay. I can change my fonts. So at the moment, it's quite a simple font that I've got. So I can highlight the data. So to highlight the data, you just scroll down and highlight, click on my home page, change a font that you like, and I'm going to change it to Tahoma, and press the enter key. You'll see now my font has changed. I want to make my data a little bit bigger, so I'm going to increase my font size. So I would click on my font size. I would then change it to 14. So it's a little bit bigger. And you can see already, because I've increased my font size, my weekly is not fully displayed now, my words. So again, I would go back to column B and double click so that it widens it up, and same with column A. And there's column C. So all my data is fully displayed now. Okay, we're working with money, so we want to see the pound signs. We want to see, the pence. So again, what you need to do, you highlight the information, you right-click the mouse, you click on Format Cells. We want currency, so go down to number, make sure you select currency. We want 2 decimal places, which is already set up, and we would like the pound sign, which is already set up, and you click on OK. You can see now that my amounts have pounds and pence, looks more professional, more presentable. I want to now change my color. I want to put in some shading. So what I would do, I could put my titles in bold. Maybe I can put some shading. So again, you're going back to your home page, go to the fill, and I'm going to choose like a light gray. I want my totals to also be enhanced. So again, I'm going to highlight my total section. I'm going to again highlight it and shade it. So that kind of stands out to me. I want to change my text to a different color. So I might do color, go to your A text and choose a different color. So I might choose red. So there's a lot of things that you can do with a spreadsheet, but this is just a basic spreadsheet. You can also work out what it costs, quarterly by using a formula. And if you want to see what formula you've actually displayed, what you've actually done, you can either click on the cell where you are seeing them individually. But if you want to see all the formulas that you've actually used on a spreadsheet, you would click on formulas and show formulas, which is at the top side, and you'll see all the formulas that are used. And again, if you want to go back to the data, if you just click on show formulas again, you're back to your data. Again, if you've missed something out and you want to include another outgoing, you can just highlight where you want to include a row. You right click and you click on insert, and you've got another row there. Okay, so if I want to put in a car loan, I can put the amount, and when I put this amount, because there is a formula already in place, your totals will change automatically. So if I put in £50 per month, per week, you will see that my data, my totals have now changed automatically because there is a formula in place. Okay, so it's brilliant. It's very quick to do calculations once the formulas are there. This is very basic. There's a lot more that you can do with spreadsheets. But what Donald is going to do now is he's going to show you how to put this data into a chart, into a graph. Okay, over to you, Donald.
Okay, hope you can hear me well. I'm just going to share my screen because what we want to do now is just show you how to take the data and use it in a chart. I'm just going to maximize this part. Okay, I hope you can still hear me, still see me. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight the labels. Okay, yeah, highlight the labels and also the data, but I'm not going to highlight the totals. That could skew your chart, which may not look the way you would like it to. And the next thing I'll do is go to insert. And then you can go to recommended chart. Okay, I'm just going to choose the first basic chart that comes along. And this is a clustered column chart. Some might also call it a bar chart. I'm going to click OK. So now we have a chart. I'm just going to see if I can make it slightly larger. Get up here a little bit, and then maybe make it a little bit wider down here. Okay. So that's the basic chart. What you might want is some labels. You might want to see the title. You might want to see the label for the horizontal side or the vertical. So we click on this plus sign here, and we can have a look at all the various chart elements. When we talk about axis, it's referring to your vertical, or it's referring to the horizontal. So if I took, I'm going to leave that there actually, and then you've got axis title. Click on here. We'd like to have axis title. So for the vertical side, we're just going to call that outgoing. Take up what's already in there, delete that, and then we're going to call this outgoing. Got that correctly. And here for the horizontal axis, we might want to call that I'm going to call that utilities. That was already there. And let's see if I can carry on with that. Utilities. Okay, and then obviously we want a chart title. We're just going to call this expenditure. And you can move the title if you want to. Right. Okay, so clicking on the chart again, let's have a look at some of the elements. We've got the chart title in there. You might want to put some data labels in. Data labels will be the amounts. So it's looking at the numbers and how much has been spent. At the moment, they all seem to be coming together. What we can do, we could change the size of those. If I click on here, let's see whether we can change the size of the text. Might make it a bit easier to see it. So I'm just going to put it on 6 points. Press enter. And you can see the text size has changed. It might be a bit small at the moment, but what we're going to be able to do is put this on its own page later on, and then we'll be able to see it a little bit better. So I'm just going to make this also 6 points, just to make it easier to read. Okay, that's on 6. Okay, let's see some other things that we can do. We've got grid lines. You can either have them in or out. I think it's better to have them in, so you can actually have an idea of the amount and how, without looking at the numbers, you can see what is more and what is less. You also can have a trend line. You wouldn't normally have a trend line for this type of chart, but just to have a look and see where a trend line might be. I'm going to take that out now. Okay, so a few other things you could do with your chart. When you click on the chart, you've got the designs you can use, different formats. I'll just take this off. Okay, and there should be some different designs, chart design, and you could just choose this design. You might like that design, or you could choose this one, and you could decide whatever you want to do. You can change the color of your bars or your columns. Let's have a go with that. We'll just change the color of this one. Right click on it, and it's already orange. Let's have a look. Maybe just change it to red, orange, red, and we'll leave it like that. Okay, so just going back to the element, we can see something called a legend. You might wonder, what is a legend? A legend is information that you see here, which shows you what the red bar relates to. It relates to a yearly figure, and the blue line refers to the weekly amount. Okay, it's good to have the legend in there so you can see what they all represent. What I'd like to do right now is to change one of the figures in the data. Let's change some of the data. Let's go to food for the year. Well, let's change food for the week. Let's change it to £50. Let's see what it does to the chart. If you keep your eyes on the chart, you'll see it changes. So you see that the data in the spreadsheet is related to the chart. I'm going to put that back to what it was by just using undo, and it goes back there. Okay. Now, the other thing we might want to do with this chart is we might want to put it in its own sheet. When you see it here side by side with the data, bunched together. So let's just put this chart in its own sheet, and you do that by right-clicking on it and you would want to choose Move Chart. Okay, so we will just do that now. Click on New Sheet, and now it's in its own chart on its own. Okay, so that's some of the things that we can do with the chart. Another thing we could do with this chart is we could put it or include it in a Word document. I hope you can still see my screen. Can you see the Word document that I'm opening up? Is that there also? Okay, let's just start with a new sheet, new blank document. You can still see that. I'm just going to place. I've just placed it in there. I'm just going to undo that and show you something that you can do. You right click. You've got different. If we do that, you will be able to keep all the linking data, which means if you change your spreadsheet at a later date, it will also change in your Word document. So I can just quickly show this time. And if we enter, go back to the Word document, you'll see that it's changed. It's changed. Okay, so you can change it. As long as you link it together, it will all change. So that's basically charts and how you can use them in Excel. So back to you, Paul.
Thanks, Donald and Rakhee. That's absolutely fantastic. A really, really practical talk. I'm definitely jealous of Rakhee's electric and gas supplier. Was that £12 and £11? I think I'm not with the right supplier. I think. Yeah, so I think a lot of the skills you showed this evening would be really useful. I wish I knew them when I was doing homework when I was back in school. So I think a lot of this could be really helpful for that too. I have one question for you. I believe you're using the desktop version of Excel there, but I believe you can use Excel for free if you use it through OneDrive in the browser. Is that correct?
I can't unmute.
Oh, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Can you just repeat that question, please?
Can you use Excel in the browser if you don't have Excel installed on your machine?
You should be able to. Because
I think
OneDrive would have their own applications.
Not online version of the app, I think.
Yeah, it's easier to use it on desktop than on OneDrive. It's only today because we were sharing. It's just easier if I drop it in OneDrive, then Donald can access it. And you've got more facilities, more features on the desktop than you would have on the online.
Another thing, just another thought about accessing their spreadsheet software. Actually, I'm on Ubuntu here, which is and I'm on using LibreOffice Calc, which is essentially the same thing as Excel, but a free alternative for Ubuntu. So that's another option if you don't have Excel installed on your machine. You can download LibreOffice Calc. I believe you can install that on Windows as well. So you don't have an Ubuntu machine for that. Let me take a look at the chat. Is it? I've got a question from the chat here. Is it worth learning spreadsheets and using Excel online or Google Sheets, or is it better to get Microsoft Office? So you've kind of already answered that question. Actually, you said there's more features. So I'll skip that question. Does it matter if you use Excel, Google Sheets, or Apple Numbers? Do you know the difference between those different spreadsheet softwares?
I haven't used Apple Numbers, but I have used Google Sheets. I do find Excel features, mainly because you can use the downloadable version. I suppose it depends on what you're used to, really, but you can set them both.
I suppose if you're into the kind of Google Drive and or if you're into Apple, I suppose using Apple Numbers or Google Sheets would be more suitable depending on what device you're on. I suppose if you're on a Chromebook, or one of those Google Chromebooks, then you probably want to use Google Sheets, I suppose. What would you say the top 3 most important skills to master in Excel for getting a job, like an admin job, for instance?
With Excel, I mean, it's really important that you know how to perform, do the calculations, because it just makes so much of a difference. I mean, I've only covered how to add and use multiplication, but you can do divisions, you can work out percentages, you can filter, you can work out what the average is, especially when you're in finances and you're working out your budgets. You could work out the mean, modes, everything like in maths you can kind of do on a spreadsheet. I would say it's one of the main skills that you would probably need, depending on what type of a company that you're going to.
Yeah. I've got a question from, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Edmar24. Can you use Excel as a database?
You can export data. So, for example, if I have this spreadsheet and I want to import it into a database, so Microsoft Access, I can do.
It's useful, yeah. I've heard of Microsoft Access.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 more questions. What is the coolest thing you've ever done in Excel? That's a tough one, I think.
Created macros and hyperlinks.
Oh, okay. What's you might have to explain what a macro is.
So basically, macros are created so it runs the program, and it kind of records your steps that you're doing. And you can also create hyperlinks. So if you've got like different sheets on your spreadsheet, you can create a hyperlink so it jumps from from I don't know, sheet 1 to sheet 5, and you can go back to it. So it's like navigating.
And also with the hyperlinks, as well, you can go between your applications, so it's showing you from Word, Excel, to how
with hyperlinks you can go from one application to another, and it's quite interesting what you can do.
Yeah, that does sound useful, being able to jump from application to application using those hyperlinks. That sounds very useful. And so I imagine after this evening you might have got a few people interested in learning a bit more. If you were to take this training a step further, what would you suggest I would do next? What courses, training or certification do you recommend?
So you can do so this is like an introduction. There's a lot more to do in an beginner's guide. So you could do like ITQ. You could do like a level 1 IT course. I mean, it depends if it's a full-time qualification they're looking for, or a part-time qualification.
And I suppose do you offer any of these courses at North Arts College?
Yes, we do it here.
Fantastic. That's very useful. Obviously, most of our viewers are around the Hertfordshire area, so
yeah.
So hopefully they'll be within range of that. Although, do you have an online learning facility, or is it all on campus?
It's all on site now.
Okay. I've got one more question. Are those courses expensive? Or an idea of could you give us an idea of how affordable they are?
I wouldn't be able to answer that, I'm afraid. It does depend on whether you're working, whether you're on any benefits, your age. So there's, quite a few different allowances that are made.
And also, if you are
19, 16 to 19, all courses are free. And even up to 22, some of those still can be free. It again depends on the arrangement. But certainly come to the college and we'll see if we can help you and put you on the right course for you.
Fantastic. Sounds good. It sounds like it depends a bit. There's I've got one more question from the chat. Roger asks, can you create and store personal formulas?
Can you create, sorry?
Can you create and store personal formulas?
Store. What does he mean by storing?
I'm not sure. I'm not fully sure. I suppose when you write a formula, when you write a formula into a spreadsheet, it's saved in that spreadsheet. Maybe is wondering.
I mean, you can create like if statements where they are kind of, personal to what your spreadsheet is.
Yes, yes, yeah, cool. Yeah. I suppose macros are kind of in somewhat are kind of stored formula, a stored routine that you can execute. So I suppose somewhat kind of a macro maybe is what is referring to possibly.
Okay.
Okay. So hopefully those of you on the live stream have enjoyed this session and found it useful. Please check out our other videos. We've got lots of them on our BCS Hertfordshire channel now. And if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. And you can also press that bell icon as well, which will notify you when we have a new video or a live stream. I'd like to say a massive thank you to Donald and Rakhee for giving their time this evening. It's been a really, really practical and useful talk. And thank you to those of you watching at home. And I hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Thank you.